requirements on verifying a person's identity before they can vote. We are going to switch over now to a different topic and a different story. Federal reports show Louisiana has some of the worst air quality in the country, and now some are wondering if the Amazon data centers heading to Louisiana will make it even worse. One attorney says they use diesel mostly for backup power, but it still adds to the output of greenhouse gas.
You know, we see some data centers are now proposing hundreds or, more than 500 backup engines. And when you get to that level, that's tremendous. That's a huge amount of potential pollution.
An EPA assessment puts Louisiana in the bottom of 3 states. And we are learning more about these so-called fast sites coming to Ouachita and Caldwell parishes. They're among 16 going in statewide, and they're aimed at bringing in new investment. Lawmakers have set aside $150 million for their infrastructure to get them site ready and to attract new industry.
We decided to call the program itself Fast Sites because it's deploying this money so that sites across the state can invest, build out the infrastructure, and use the basic elements like water, sewer, rail spurs, things like that in order to position their site, for all these different type of businesses that we're trying to attract into the state of Louisiana.
Lemoyne says the project must start within 9 months, and he hopes the completion date will be in the next couple of years. And this next story that we're going to jump to actually has to do with us here at KNOE. If you watch us on KNOE and KQI on Dish, there may be issues with that going forward. Dish has refused to reach a new agreement to carry our station and has dropped us from their lineup. This removes your access to programming on KNOE and KAQI. You can contact Dish now at 800-333-3474 and urge them to restore KNOE and KAQI. And I'm going to read that number to you one more time if you do want to call. That is 800-333-3474. But we are always free if you do need us to use an antenna. You can also see our newscasts by downloading our free streaming apps for Android, Roku, Fire, and Apple TV. Just be sure to search for KNOE. And if you're watching me, that may mean you already have our app. I recommend that as well. You can watch us there. Just be sure that you do have the latest update on those apps and the weather app as well. And we are going to jump now to another story. A lot of high schoolers don't know what options they have after graduation, and the Franklin Parish School Board is trying to make that path clearer. More than 24 employers were at the College Career and Military Fair last night. It was for 6th through 12th graders, and they had the chance to ask industry leaders questions to see what options they have after graduation. And ULM representatives say having a parent involved is key to those children's growth.
We've been providing transition services in the past. We have a transition specialist, but now we're kind of taking it to the next level and providing these opportunities for these parents and families to become more involved.
But if we don't have those conversations early and those students aren't aware of the resources and opportunities and how what they do in 6th grade and 7th grade impacts their high school journey and then, later their early journey into adulthood, then we're really doing them a disservice.
And if your workplace is interested in speaking with students, be sure to reach out to the Franklin Parish School Board. And we're going to go now to another story. The Monroe City Council has approved a new study for the Ouachita Candy Company building. The goal of the study is to plan for redevelopment and transform the old building. Elijah Mangum has more on the plans for the Candy Company.
The city of Monroe is moving forward with the developer to study the site of the Ouachita Candy Company building in hopes that their plans to redevelop the site will become a reality.
So it's just like buying a home. You've got an inspection period and you've got to do all the tests that you need to do to ensure that you're buying a quality home, but it is their intent to be able to build hotel, housing, and retail there along the Ouachita River.
Those plans include a 180-room hotel, 70 apartments, 40 condominiums, retail and restaurant space, Riverwalk, and a plaza. Rob Cleveland of Gronila has been working with the developer from the beginning and says they have a couple more steps before officially purchasing the building is expected to bring millions of dollars in tax revenue.
So they'll be working through different pro formas, they'll be working through the environmental aspects of the building and the engineering and structural integrity of the site. So both sides will take some time here to conduct their due diligence, and we're optimistic that within that time frame the letter of intent will be acted upon.
The developer is Prairie Cloud Growth, who says that if purchased, they are expecting to break ground in 2 years with another 18 months of construction.
The biggest unknown, and that's why we needed to get this figured out quickly, was what's it going to take to do what we want to do along the river. You know, and working with Army Corps and working with, you know, the levee and stuff. We need to, you know, there's a lot of re-engineering going on. We want to make that walkable. But I think the cost estimate's going to be in the $80 to $100 million.
In Monroe, Elijah Mangum, KNOE 8 News.
And today we have been learning more about that redevelopment project of the Ouachita Candy Company building. Yesterday's $80 million announcement brought both excitement and some skepticism. So although the pictures and the ideas behind it are beautiful, some are wondering where that money is coming from. And we do have more information on everything that we've learned so far in our later shows at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock as well. And that's not the only thing we're covering in our shows later today. 2 Monroe neighborhoods have flooded for more than 20 years, but tonight the city is finally doing something about it. A $14 million pump station broke ground today in districts 4 and 5, and residents say it's long overdue. Our reporter Sophia Hosworth has been following that story, and we'll have more later tonight. But again, we have more reporters than that, and we have more stories for you. Pillars of the Community in Crossett, Arkansas will be closing its doors at the end of the month. You can hear more on why it's closing its doors. Again, that'll be in our later shows. We have one at 5, 6, and 10 o'clock. So be sure to tune in for those. But that is all of the local news that I have for now. We're going to go into a quick break. But right after this break, Chief Meteorologist Marcus Walter will be joining me to have another look at the forecast. So stay with us. We will be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Well, I'm joined now with Chief Meteorologist Marcus Walter. And Marcus, obviously, we have some rough weather potentially ahead of us.
Yeah, exactly. We're watching for the threat of severe weather. We're especially looking toward places like Natchez and even areas in Concordia Parish, Catahoula Parish, LaSalle Parish, and also farther to the east as well. So we do have some concerns out there. It looks like the farther north you are, the quieter the weather.
Yeah, but we're already seeing some of that impact here. I mean, it's been pretty gray skies today, and I believe in Arkansas they've been seeing some rain.
Yeah, they've been dealing with rain all day. Fortunately, it hasn't been too heavy.
Yeah.
So it's been that nice, welcome rain, and we need rain across the Arkansas. It's been very
some good
dry.
napping rain.
Exactly, good napping. That's actually a perfect way to put it. El Dorado has dealt with good napping rain all day. Let's take a look outside. We'll will show you that we are dreary here in the Monroe area. We have had some light rain showers over the last couple of hours. And when we take a look at the radar, we'll notice that there's still wet weather pushing into the Arklamas. If you're in places like Natchez or areas farther to the south, you are still dry, but we are tracking more active weather to our south and west. There's actually one tornado warning just west of Fort Polk in eastern Texas. That, as of now, is not a threat for us, but we will continue to monitor the active weather as it could move in our direction. Now, as we talk about what's happening here in the Monroe area, here in Ruston, here in Delhi, we're dealing with rain and thunderstorms now, but that's about it. So nothing to worry about right now. We're looking at that steady, good sleeping rain in El Dorado still, also for Crossett and places like Montrose and Wilmot. So much needed rain falling across South Arkansas. We're still dry for much of Tensas Parish, also across much of Concordia Parish and Catahoula Parish. There is wet weather and even some thunderstorms now moving over the city of Jena. And so we'll have to watch and see how that develops over the next hour or so. Here's a look at the watch that's out there. We have a tornado watch for places like Ouachita Parish, Jackson Parish, Wynn Parish, Caldwell Parish, and LaSalle Parish. This watch will stay with us at least through 6 p.m. I suspect it may be extended farther to the south and east. So be on guard if you're in Concordia Parish or Tensas Parish in particular. As we look at the futurecast, it shows that active weather sweeping across the region. As of now, it looks like the most intense weather will likely be well south of Interstate 20 and then potentially across central and southern Mississippi. We'll see that wet weather continuing to move across our region toward 9 p.m. And then as we head toward midnight and hours after that, we could get a secondary wave of moisture on the backside. But more than anything, we'll notice the wind ushering in cooler air. As we look ahead to what's on the way, well, we do want to talk about that severe weather. We're really watching from now through about 11 p.m. or midnight, and we're really most concerned about damaging wind and maybe an isolated tornado or two. And if we get heavy downpours, we could see some flooded roads around our region. Here's a look at the latest SPC outlook. It shows that there's a slight risk pretty much from Monroe off to the south and east, and I suspect that'll continue to be pushed to the east. So if you're in El Dorado, you're no longer under that severe weather threat. But if you're in Monroe, Vicksburg, places like Natchez, Catahoula, LaSalle parishes, you still need to keep your guard up, at least for a couple of more hours. Here's a look at temperatures now. You'll see a sharp contrast in temperatures. We still sit at 85 degrees in Natchez, 84 degrees in Tallulah and Vicksburg, but it's 63 degrees in El Dorado, a 20-degree difference across our region. And in the cooler spots, that's where we have a lower risk for severe weather. Here's a look on the water view. We're noticing more warmth to our south and east, places like Jackson, Mississippi, sitting at 86 degrees, but it's 70 degrees in Dallas. Here's a look at the temperature planner. We'll go from the low 70s here in Monroe now to the lower 50s by 3 a.m., and many of us will be in the 40s by the time we get to tomorrow morning. So storms still on the lookout for them as we head throughout the evening. As we look at what's on the way, beyond that, we'll take you back to the radar. And I actually want to get you to the 7-day forecast because we are overall expecting quieter weather as we head into Thursday and Friday. So if you like sunshine, if you like comfortable conditions, we are looking at better weather for us. So let me actually see if I can get the graphics to come up in the meantime. Technology for you, right, Mallory? But either way, we'll just leave you with a look at the radar just to point out that, again, we are expecting rain to be here, impacting us, continuing to sweep across the region. And we'll have that 7-day for you tonight at 5 p.m. on KNOE. Yep. But Mallory, we are still watching for severe weather, but it is looking better for us and potentially calmer for us, at least as we head throughout the next hour or so.
That's definitely a very, very good thing. You know, with this rougher weather, it can be a little scary not knowing what we're coming into. And when it does start to calm down, you're like, okay, I can breathe a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of people have storm anxiety. They really do get nervous, and we've seen our fair share of powerful weather here in Louisiana. Just yesterday, they had a horrible tornado that went through Kankakee, Illinois, that led to a lot of damage. So people are usually on guard when severe weather is happening. So it's nice to say, okay, we still have some storm chances, but it's looking a little bit better for us over the next couple
absolutely,
of hours.
but weather can change pretty quick, which is why it's so important to be sure that you have our weather app. I do want to shout that out as much as I can, because we do have some crazy weather here in Louisiana, quite frankly.
We have some interesting weather for sure. It's never a dull moment.
Absolutely not. And if you do already have the weather app, make sure you do have the latest version, because we have been updating our apps to make sure they're running smoothly and we're getting the updates to you that you need. So if you do already have our app, be sure that it is the most up-to-date one that you can get. But we're going to go into a quick break. Chief Meteorologist Marcus Walter will have another quick look at the weather before the show ends. But for now, we're going to go into those commercials. But don't worry, we will be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Well, the fire engine or ambulance that could save you or your family may be years from arriving at your local firehouse amid the national fire truck shortage. But there's a simple solution that could quickly replace those aging fire fleets. National investigative reporter Brendan Keefe discovered fire chiefs are fighting more than manufacturing delays. They're battling tradition and a system designed to make rescue vehicles one at a time.
Multiple fire engines currently out of service.
If things start breaking down, places are going to burn and people could get hurt.
When seconds count, the fire truck could be years away from arriving.
If we can build a Super Bowl stadium in 2 years, why can't we build a fire truck in 2 years? It shouldn't take 3 to 4 years to get a life-saving piece of equipment in the cities across this country.
America's fire chiefs are sounding the alarm.
Years ago, we would order a fire truck, and a year later, it would be there.
What did that grow to?
Today, unfortunately, in many cases, an order may take up to 4 years, sometimes 5 years.
Firefighters in Alachua County, Florida are waiting more than 3 years for a new ladder truck. And they're just miles from the manufacturer, one of the biggest in the nation.
You're less than an hour away from the manufacturer of that truck.
We are.
And you still have to wait years to get it.
For smaller fire departments, it's a 5-alarm crisis.
We have a couple of them here in Alachua County that are either broken down fire engine or a wrecked fire engine away from being out of service.
This is the only ladder truck in the Alachua County Fire Department. This year it will celebrate its 17th birthday, well past its scheduled retirement age. The replacement ladder truck was ordered nearly 3 years ago, but won't arrive here in Alachua County until the beginning of next year.
It's just old, it's aged.
Are there days when it's out of service and you don't have a backup?
Yes, we end up putting it in a fire engine. We put a fire engine there and put more ground ladders on it. We call it a truck company, not a ladder truck.
You've got a ladder company without a ladder on those days?
Yes, without aerial device, yes, we do.
350 miles north, in Forsyth County, Georgia, a dedicated fire fleet maintenance team is keeping 20-year-old reserve trucks on the road while waiting on orders placed years ago.
The natural reaction of fire chiefs have aggravated the problem. If I've got to wait that long for my apparatus to get here, I've got to forecast out and know that I've got more trucks starting to retire before I get that order in. Maybe I need to double that order. Maybe I need to triple that order. We put in more orders, which takes that much longer to get trucks delivered. So we put in bigger orders.
All of that demand has fire departments burning through taxpayer money to get the trucks they need to save lives.
When you have just a few companies that basically own all the product, and every city and county across this country is begging for that product, you can set the price.
What's the difference in price from ordering before and now?
So in 2022, that fire engine was about $550,000. We just did another order in December of 2025. That same fire engine is now $915,000. So you're looking at about a 64% increase in price just over a 4-year period.
Essentially the same truck.
Essentially the same truck. I don't know where the ceiling is. I think for the taxpayer, it needs to be soon.
Most cars and trucks are built on assembly lines, mass-produced with repeatable steps based on a common set of designs, not fire trucks. Orders are custom built, often one at a time, to each fire department's specifications.
They are built by craftsmen, artisans.
They're built by hand, essentially.
They're literally built by hand, and that's why it takes quite some time to build them.
Fire chiefs and their purchasing committees take pride in their own customizations, many designed to save lives.
And this is part of the custom build that we do for our fire engines. All of our battery-operated extrication equipment is in this front bumper. We also have hose that's here on this front bumper that's already plumbed to the pump.
Every pump panel is going to have a tank level light on it, but we incorporate a larger cab-mounted light. We want to make sure that this is provided because on every fire ground in Forsyth County, the incident commander needs to be able to look up and see a cab-mounted tank-level light on it.
The customization is literally down to the exact shade of paint sometimes, right?
It is.
I mean, departments have a specific shade of red, not just red, a specific shade of red.
The stock trucks we ordered aren't exactly Forsyth County red. If you parked it next to one of the custom build trucks, you'd be able to tell a difference. But only if it's parked next to it. It's close enough.
If my house is on fire, I don't care that that's a slightly different shade of red. I care that there's 2 trucks there instead of 1.
And that's our focus here.
I've had to look really hard over this last year and decide, is that something we need to continue? Because when you're talking about a 2.5-year or 3-year turnaround time, with the cost that's involved, you start thinking, well, maybe the stock truck isn't as bad. Maybe we can adapt to what that truck is.
Forsyth County came to the same realization, buying a pair of stock trucks right off a dealer lot.
We were able to get this truck as a stock unit, but as part of our upfitting procedure, our motor maintenance team has added this light to it so that it does match our fleet.
Better than waiting 3 years for a tank level.
Certainly, yeah. Yes, sir.
If you didn't buy that truck, another fire department would have within days or weeks.
Maybe hours. I would think by the end of that week, that truck would have been sold to somebody else.
Forsyth County ordered 5 more stock trucks with limited customization that will get here in less than 12 months.
An order you put in last week is now going to get here quicker than one you put in last year.
That's exactly right. How crazy is that? But this was the demo truck. Well, we were able to snatch it up. We put an offer in on it and got it very quickly from the dealer. Again, if we hadn't done that soon, it would have been bought very quickly by somebody else. Traditional ladder truck with a rear mount ladder, straight stick, a 75-foot. The truck we have on order is a 107-foot ladder. This is a 75-foot ladder. It was close enough.
It's the difference between the right truck and the right now truck.
Our firefighters that walk through that door right now any minute to get on this rig are still riding in extremely safe, properly functioning, great trucks. They're just not necessarily the same specifications that we would have ordered 5 years ago.
And it's not just fire engines. We have the same thing with our ambulances. We ordered our last group of ambulances in January of 2022. We haven't received those ambulances yet. They're due to be here this next month. But you're talking about a 4-year build time.
Alachua County needed a rescue plan to keep its 21 ambulances in service. Mass-produced stock ambulances could get here quicker.
And so we ended up buying 7 of those ambulances, and with a delivery time of about 12 months.
Chief Shivers is trying to change the culture.
We had these things modified so that it's a better fit for our fleet.
The alternative is an empty bay or a really old truck.
And that's not an alternative. That's not an option.
He chairs the Emergency Vehicle Management section of the International Association of Fire Chiefs, now pushing for more mass production.
Firefighters hate two things: change and the way things are.
No citizen has ever said, I wish you would have gotten here later. They have always said, I wish you would have gotten here sooner.
The big manufacturers still make more custom fire trucks than stock because that's what most fire departments order, tending to old trucks and older habits. The only question now is whether the tradition dies before the trucks do.
We're going to go into another quick break, but don't worry, we will be right back. Welcome back, everyone. We are coming to an end of this afternoon streaming show, but before we go, I do want to give just a last look at the weather because we are expecting, again, some pretty nasty weather.
Yeah, exactly. We have the chance to see some severe weather still across our region, but parts of the region may also have calmer weather as well. So let's take a look at what's happening on radar. We do want to point out that rain showers and thunderstorms are impacting much of the arc limits right now. We're still mainly dry in Concordia Parish and even Tensas Parish, but pretty much everyone dealing with some type of wet weather. The strongest storm activity is located near Fort Polk, so we'll see if that holds together as it pushes east and north and east. It could impact places like Gina and Catahoula Parish and Concordia Parish, so we're mostly watching for that. As we take a look at the alerts that are out there, we have a tornado watch that stays with part of the region at least through 6 p.m., so we have another hour and a half of this watch. It may be extended for places like Concordia Parish, but as we track the forecast, this is a look at 7 p.m. Showers, thunderstorms, some intense storms will be moving through. It looks like the most intense weather will be south of Interstate 20. So if you are in El Dorado, you're done with severe weather. Cross it, you're pretty much done with severe weather. But we're still keeping an eye for places like Monroe and areas farther to the south and east. So as we summarize the forecast for tonight, we're going with a low of 46 degrees. After the stormy weather, it'll be somewhat windy. We'll notice wind up to 30 miles per hour. So you'll notice that. And then tomorrow we'll see temperatures in the low 60s. It'll be sunny. It'll be breezy as well. But it will be a much more pleasant day. It'll be a pretty day compared to what we've been dealing with today. Here's a look at the 7-day forecast. It shows that we have sunshine through Friday and Saturday. More clouds Sunday. Temperatures then in the low 80s. Late Sunday into Monday, a spotty shower will be possible. But take a look at Monday's highs, only in the mid 50s. And Tuesday morning will be down into the mid-30s. But our biggest concern is really over the next 5 to 6 hours. Once we make it to about 10 p.m., things should be a lot quieter, although windy, but calmer for us overall.
I have to tell you, I'm happy to see some of that sun after the gray days we've been having here lately.
It's been gray, it's been warm, it's been muggy, so it'll be nice to feel some comfortable sunny weather.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Marcus. And Chief Meteorologist Marcus is going to be keeping you up to date during our regular newscast as well. We have one at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock tonight, so be sure to tune into those. You also post pretty frequently on social media as well to keep people up to date.
Yes, they can find me on socials at Marcus D. Walter, whether it's Facebook. Usually Facebook is the best bet for me, but you can email me, marcus.walter@greattv.com. we're available. So just ask away if you have any questions.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Marcus, and thank you all for being here today. That is it for the streaming show, but our next streaming show will be tomorrow at 9 a.m. I hope to see you then.